Anyway, everybody who is tuning in to this, welcome to Two Worlds, One Voice, where we discuss how.
Whoa, 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 you just said the name wrong, man. Two worlds, one voice. Come on.
Hi. Okay, outtake, cut, right? All right, let's try this again.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to Two Voices. You,
Oh,
you, you.
I was not looking at you. Try that again.
Yeah, I know. Nobody wants to look at me. It's okay. I don't blame them. All right. Let's try this again. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome everyone to Two Voices.
One world.
Yes, where we will be discussing how, globally speaking, more of us are similar than things that other people will try to divide us about. Anyway,
Yeah.
we're going to be discussing a few things today. The COVID pandemic. But before we begin, Rahan and I would like you all to know that in this age of computer meetings on Zoom, that you don't have to worry about us accidentally exposing ourselves because we made sure to wear pants. At least I made sure to wear pants. How about you?
Yeah, I also made sure that I've been
Okay.
wearing pants all along, so that's not something I need to be concerned of.
All
However,
right.
you on the other hand have toys and all those things, so yeah, you
Yes,
can do
that's
whatever
right.
you
We
want.
have we have dog toys here because I have two German shepherds, one on that end, one on this end. Um, yes, I just tossed them at them. And Grayson is looking at me like, "What did you just do?" Okay. So
Yeah.
let's talk about, as we are theoretically, at least here, winding down on COVID. I say theoretically because our worldwide numbers are 179 million cases of COVID to date, with a global total of close to 3.9 million deaths.
A lot of cases globally. Speaking individually, in my country, in Pakistan, we've had nearly 950,000 cases till date.
And here in the US, I don't quite remember the exact amount of recorded cases, but our death rate was huge. It was around 606,000. And while here in the United States, we are getting to a higher vaccination rate, and several states are allowing us to go back to normal behavior, normal store openings, normal life. This might present some problems down the road, but it is increasing in countries like India and Brazil, most notably.
Right.
And here in the United States, several independent states have lifted restrictions because our vaccination rate is high, or high enough anyway, to safely engage with the public so that the COVID infections remain minimal. Again, theoretically, because as people start going out without their masks and businesses are opening up again, I've got the feeling we might have another spike later. We'll
We
see.
might.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we might. Because as I see things, even here in Pakistan, it's quite the same because the markets are back to opening up. People are out there not wearing masks, and we are having social gatherings and social events like marriages and other meetings going on, and it's like we're back to normal. However, we're not. We need to consider the facts that this virus is still here.
And it's also mutating as well. And without uh, the majority of the populace getting vaccinated, these mutated strains of coronavirus could wind up bringing us back to another global pandemic, rise of numbers again. And, you know, we have a number of people in our societies all across the world that have this weird anti-vax mentality. They have conspiracy theories about, the vaccine, what it might do to them, that it's some kind of global BS. I know we have them here. What's that like on your end?
Oh, we have them here as well. In fact, we have a trend going on social media, specifically on TikTok, where they create a video of a patient visiting the doctor that I just got vaccinated. Uh, uh, will I die in 2 years? So the conspiracy theory is that if you get vaccinated, you die in 2 years, and the doctor is joking about it. Okay, if the world is going to die, what are you going to do? Why would you want to live if everyone is going to die? So we also
So,
have similar mentality here in Pakistan as well, and it's on the rise.
so I just want to address this idea that if you get vaccinated, you'll die in 2 years. Yes, if you believe that, you probably will. It's been nice knowing you. Okay. No, actually, far from the case. I want you to think about this for a second. If you need two shots, as most of the vaccines are there, and the theoretical booster shots that we're going to need somewhere along the lines of 8 months to a year down the road, it's because your body eventually uses immunity. These vaccines are not going to hurt you long term. Vaccines have to be approved by governmental health bodies that they are effective and safe. Depending upon the country, we have different percentages of safety records. Here in the United States, vaccines have to be, I think, somewhere between 80 and 88% effective with no mortality for them to be considered safe for use, and that is a very high number. There is also the people out there who distrust the vaccine because it is possible to still get COVID after you've been vaccinated, and people don't understand how that is possible. I will just briefly explain this to some people that you really should be talking to your doctor about this, because while I may know a few things, I am a voice on the internet. Rahan is also a voice on the internet.
Yes.
That's right. You should be speaking more because I talk too much.
Being voice on the internet is not uh, being voice on the internet is not necessarily a problem. However, we are not equipped with the technicalities and the right knowledge from experience, and we are not equipped with the medical knowledge to give you any advice. However, Mark is going to share something very interesting with you, and if you think for a moment, you can discuss this with your doctor as well for professional advice.
The internet is filled with a bunch of misinformation, and the only one who's really going to know what is right for you is your doctor, who has been, working with you and knowing what your individual case is. But we do have these wacky conspiracy theorists out there who you'll find videos saying that, oh, I got the vaccine and metal now sticks to me.
If only that were true, these people would be traders in metal industry today. Don't you think that?
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, if you were somehow magnetized after having a vaccine, it would be great, I would think, because I would never lose my car keys. I'd stick them to my forehead and I know exactly where they are all the time. Yes, and my favorite conspiracy theory is, of course, that, oh, the vaccines have trackers in them.
Oh yeah.
Okay, all the people concerned about these trackers are busy posting about the vaccine having trackers from their cell phones. Okay?
Of course, if you don't want to consider, we're not here to force you to consider, but just to put in an extra thought to your mind, think that for a moment. Think about it.
What's your favorite conspiracy theory?
Oh, the 2 year one is the favorite, I would say.
Oh, the ones that were going to be dead in 2 years?
Yeah, everyone
Oh,
is
okay.
going to be dead. So the doctors say, why would you want to live if everyone is going to die after 2 years? So what's the point? Just get vaccinated. Let's die together.
What I'm thinking of is that, hey, can we actually take a vote on which species we would like to take over as the predominant ones on this planet after 2 years? Yeah, do you have a choice?
Not particularly, but I know your choice.
You do?
Yeah,
Okay.
you
Which
have
would be what?
you have two of them right in front of you. So
That's true, but
that's my answer.
they are not on camera right now. Rohan is referring to my two German shepherds who are off to the side because it's hot and they're tired. I want to tell the people out there that we are going to be discussing multiple topics in the weeks to come, like
We're going to be discussing about having dogs, music, different cultures, marriage and relationships in our societies, what's going on in Pakistan, what might be going on in the United States, and you can relate to that. Maybe you're sitting somewhere in Brazil, Argentina, India, Bangladesh, or from Europe, anywhere from the world. You can relate to that. You can actually give us your input in the comment section down below about what's the, about what happens in your country about the topic. For example, when you're speaking about coronavirus, how is the COVID situation being handled in your country? Do you have these conspiracy theories, and do you have people who are opposing the vaccines? Do you have people who are critically ill, which I'm sure you would have, but I hope they get better soon? And how are they being treated right now? So this whole concept of sharing our thoughts is that we may be two different voices, but at the end of the day, we ultimately are living in a single global village. So we are one when it comes down to being who we really are as a human race. And about the comment section, Mark is gonna give you a little tip on what to look out for.
that's right. Basically, we want any discussion that you have, even if you have opposing viewpoints, to treat everyone with respect. Everyone's opinion might come from a different place. They might be wrong, they might be right, but respect them, debate them fairly, openly, honestly, and without insult. And this is part of, the premise of our show here. We want to bring everyone together so that you do understand you're part of one big planet here. But I just want to touch upon something too. Rahan mentioned that we will be discussing things like marriage in a later,
Yeah.
you know, later
How
episode.
marriages go how
That's
marriages
right. Well,
goes in
ladies,
Pakistan. Yeah.
wait a minute, wait. Ladies, you are in luck because Rahan is single. Okay. So there he is. He's right there. Go get him.
Yeah. Well,
Okay. Listen, if some lady out there, okay, I'm looking at the camera, I'm looking at you ladies out there. If some lady isn't lucky enough to scoop him up, I'm going to have to be forced to find him a wife. Okay.
as Mark recently mentioned just now, that theoretically we're getting rid of the virus. However, the virus is not going away. We are looking at the numbers that the numbers show a certain percentage of COVID has been contaminated. But let's look at the ground realities. The ground realities are that we're not wearing masks. We are going outside for public meetings. We're going outside for different seminars. We're going outside for social gatherings, parties, and all of that. We're going to malls for shopping. I literally went out to get something for this show, tripod and some other equipment. And of course, I was wearing my mask. You won't believe how many people were out there without any mask, without any social gathering, without any social distancing, and they were like, "What's COVID?" Like they have forgotten that something like COVID did exist, or it still exists.
And
It, oh shit! It still exists.
wait a minute. Did you just curse?
No.
Jeez, I can't fucking believe it. All right. Anyway,
Anyways, we just one.
Oh, by the
seconds.
way, I am not editing that out. Okay.
So So just to
Uh,
give you an example, I spoke with a friend of mine from UAE, and she said something very interesting. The government is the government have created such a system that it will eventually force you to get vaccinated. You cannot go to the malls unless you have a green pass on the application that they have created. The government created an application which will allow you to go to malls, outside social gatherings. So at every entry place, your data is inputted in that app, which gives you a response that this person is green, red, or black. So taking that example, I would say that even though those many of those people are vaccinated, they still go out with their masks, and they still go out to get checked before entering a mall, before entering any place where there are going to be people. And as we know, UAE is an open place, it's a global tourist hub. We need to take up that example to move forward with our own SOPs, with our own behaviors. See, we're not
the
against.
problem, I'm sorry, the problem with that, however, is that that is going to be in a country by country basis, and there's going to be plenty of civil rights advocates out there saying that, oh, okay, well, now you're going to try to force people into this, you're going to, quote, discriminate, despite the fact that most of our societies, you weren't able to go to school unless you showed that you were vaccinated as a child.
Yeah,
And they're going to claim that this is going to be means of discrimination or things like that. But I just want to go back to another point that you had mentioned about we're all getting vaccinated and we're going out in public. The truth of the matter is, not all of us are getting vaccinated, as we discussed earlier, and people are going to lie about it. There are people who
most
will go out, pretend that they are vaccinated, and they're going to get COVID, and they're going to pass it around to people just because they don't want the inconvenience of wearing a mask.
that's the unfortunate part, because that's what I was going to go next to. That even though forcing people might come out to be something that is wrong, but it is one of the ways where they are sure whether this person is vaccinated or not. And that was the whole point of bringing up the example, because if I go out and I claim to be vaccinated and I'm not vaccinated, so what's the recourse? What's the recourse for someone who is right there at the corner of the shop that I'm going to meet? He may think that I have been vaccinated, as I claim to be, but in real, I'm not. So we need to understand that our lives, our decisions, and our going out and our outings might create a significant impact on other people's lives as well. So we need to be mindful of that. Myself and Mark, we're not against the idea of opening shops or going out. We very much like this idea, but this dilemma, this thing that we are not yet 100% on the recovery phase. We're not
Mhm.
all recovered, or we're not vaccinated.
There is a difference between, let's say, government wanting you to get vaccinated or legislating it versus independent private entities requiring it. To give you an example, this past week, a band, a very well-known band called the Foo Fighters, had a show in Madison Square Garden, New York, which is one of our largest venues for concerts. And you did have to prove that you were vaccinated in order for you to get concert tickets. And of course, there was protesters outside of anti-vaxxers out there who were calling this discrimination. No, it's not discrimination. It is a safety and health concern that responsible entities who put on a show wanted to take for everybody's protection. It is your
And
choice. You don't have to buy a ticket to a show like that. That is a privilege, okay? That is not something owed to you. If you have a problem with, being vaccinated for whatever reason, and somebody who's throwing an event says, "Hey, we're only going to allow vaccinated people," that is entirely up to you whether you now want to go to the show or not. And you have to obey by those rules. And these rules can apply to any independent store owner. For instance, as our restrictions are lifting, there are several stores in my area that still require masks or no entry, and that is their right to do, even if the restrictions are lifting, just the same as a store saying you can't come in if you're not wearing a shirt. Okay, you can't come in if you're not wearing, shoes. They have that right to make the rules from their establishment, and that is not discrimination. Discrimination only exists when specific groups of people are targeted on the basis of their ethnic background, religious background, sexual orientation, or similar.
Just think of this concept as, and this is actually true. I'm just changing the words, but it's out there. If you want to go to, let's say, Canada, UK, or any other country at this point, they require you to have vaccines, or they require you to be vaccinated at least. If you're not vaccinated, they might not even issue an entry for you in their country. Are they being racist? No, they're being careful. And many countries out there would require you to stay in quarantine for 2 weeks. So is that something we called out to be racism? No, we have seen that for over a year already, that if anyone was to travel even from one city to another, they needed to be in quarantine. They needed to be quarantined for at least 14 days. So yeah.
Quarantined. Do you remember when I looked up a word?
And I mean, let's not go over that. We're recording and we are discussing.
No. I'm not gonna say what the word was, but I looked up a word in Urdu, for instance, and I said, okay, what does this word mean? And knowing full well what it was, because I looked it up, and Rohan told me that he'd never seen or heard the word before, and it was a dirty word, in his language.
It was probably a part of Persian or Turkish that was, transferred to Urdu. So there are many words that are really unheard of, even in my country. And
I will just say the best words to learn in every language before you learn the language is all the curse words. You got to learn them first. As Rohan before, said the word shit very openly, which, he, by the way, he curses all the time, just to let you know, okay? Unlike me, who is just a perfect little angel.
Saint. The saint. The sage.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Saint. All those titles, they all just kneel right in front of Mark.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I'm just PSing everyone.
That's, I think, well, certainly anyone who knows me knows this too.
Yeah.
So we're just, I'm gonna break the format for just a moment, discuss with the audience some technical stuff that you see. We're a work in progress. We've done this 3 times now before you've seen even the first episode, because we keep having technical things we don't like, discussion things we don't like. We're going to be editing some stuff out of here, for instance, that you will not have heard. I'm keeping the curse words in though. And the cameras might change.
Yeah, as we progress, this is going to get better and better. And we also plan on including your thoughts in the future. We also plan on being more transparent, more open to discussion. But let's see. Yeah, let's see as we go along.
So, and by the way, not only do we have to put the entire burden of, the sex appeal for the female viewership on Rohan, but the humor too, okay? Because there's nothing funny about it, okay? Nothing.
Literally. So this was all about COVID for now. We may be recording another video on COVID as things move on, because this particularly is a topic that's progressing, and we We really want every one of you to be safe. We want every one of you to be mindful of yourself and others. If you have something that you want to contribute to, comment below. Yeah, that's the comment section specifically for your thoughts. You can just go there and say whatever you want, as long as it is respectful. If you like our video, please hit the subscribe button. You can shit. Okay, if you like this video, hit the subscribe button, and we will see you next week. So next week we're going to be discussing a recent comment made by our Prime Minister about women and how they should dress.
And we're also going to be discussing how pressure on women and how women are looked at and treated globally, and the unfairness that women in society have to endure. So for now, I am Mark.
I'm Rehan Zay.
And we will see you guys next week. In the meantime, everybody, please keep in touch with yourselves. Just don't do it in public because you could get arrested.